Here's the part that hits hardest. Brennan says this isn't just hype. It's something we've never seen before in women's team sports. Not Serena, not Simone Biles. Caitlin is the first true crossover icon in a team-based sport at this level.
TV ratings, the audience, but it's about a person that the nation, I think, has correctly fallen in love with.
Not an Olympian, not a tennis player, a basketball player. And that changes everything. This is the athlete America created, thanks to Title IX.
Title IX, which, by the way, has just celebrated its 53rd anniversary.
To parents throwing softballs with their daughters.
She is the all-American girl, grown up. She, frankly, is that girl that parents see in the kitchen every morning.
Yes, has collided with something else, resentment. And nowhere is that clearer than in the backlash Caitlin faces on social media. Her every move is dissected. If she celebrates, she's cocky. If she stays quiet, she's distant. And when other players rough her up and fans ask why, the media gets accused of race baiting and manipulation. Christine Brennan's own experience proves just how loaded this moment is. She was attacked online, accused of fueling racism, misogyny, and homophobia, all for asking a basic question about whether Diana Carrington deliberately poked Caitlin in the eye. The reaction was swift and brutal. The Players Association called it a baited narrative. But Brennan stood firm and asked what no one else dared to say out loud. Would you react this way if the same question were asked of a male athlete? And if the answer is no, who's really being protected here?
And in the WNBA,
Caitlin Clark has captivated the nation, breaking scoring records in college and bringing women's basketball to a whole new audience.
What was meant to celebrate a generational icon is now exposing deep cracks in the league. Jealousy, backlash, chaos.
Jealousy and resentment as a white player became the top story in a predominantly black league.
And through it all, Caitlin just keeps rising. If you stand with Caitlin Clark 100%, drop 100% in the comments right now, because what happens next could shake the entire WNBA.
She is a phenomenon.
Her presence and her impact in women's basketball is referred to as the Caitlin Clark effect.
The country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next.
This powerful moment came when the internet lost its mind watching Caitlin Clark assist Angel Reese in the WNBA All-Star Game. The pass, the bucket, the celebration. Two players, supposedly enemies, sharing a highlight that silenced the noise. They slapped hands, smiled, and reminded everyone what this was supposed to be about: basketball. Still, the pressure hasn't gone away. The WNBA now finds itself at a crossroads. Its players are more visible than ever, but many feel overshadowed. Its leadership is being scrutinized for its failure to unify the league. And Caitlin Clark, she just keeps playing, keeps passing, keeps drawing headlines for being the one player people can't stop watching.
When Caitlin Clark gets injured for the first time and she is out for a stretch of games, and the viewership drops over 50% across the entire league. We saw the price of ticket sales for
All grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark was never supposed to be a household name, not in a league that spent decades struggling for visibility. But here she is, front and center, redefining what's possible for women's sports. And now a new book, On Her Game, is pulling back the curtain on just how deep her impact really goes.
Christine Brennan, she's now written a book called On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports.
This Christine Brennan book, it's called On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports.
And why it's making the WNBA squirm.
Christine Brennan is releasing her book about Caitlin Clark.
What we're witnessing isn't just a conversation about basketball. It's a collision between race, gender, fame, and power.
She is the biggest racial wishbone that this sports columnist has ever seen.
A culture war playing out on the hardwood. And Caitlin Clark, whether she asked for it or not, has become the symbol at the center of it all. But here's where it gets real. Caitlin is still just 23, and yet she's already showing more maturity and grace than most veterans.
Continual analysis, controversy, racial, misogynistic, you name it. Everything got thrown at her.
When Angel Reese taunted her in last year's championship, Caitlin didn't lash out. She praised Angel's game. When the media asked about racially charged attacks online, she made one thing clear: do not use my name to promote hate. Even when the drama reached its peak, Caitlin stayed steady.
And she talks about the impact of Caitlin Clark, and I'm sure there will be so many wholesome stories and uplifting things about Caitlin, but she is also sharing a look behind the scenes at a lot of the drama and negative things.
Written by veteran sports journalist Christine Brennan, this unauthorized biography doesn't come from Caitlin's PR team. It's raw, it's unfiltered, and it's lighting up conversations everywhere.
It is causing such a crazy stir amongst fans.
Not just because of what it says, but because of what it exposes.
It's actually selling out. A lot of people have ordered the book because there is a lot of like juicy gossip. She's fueling a lot of drama. And like that's the method that she's using to market her book.
Brennan followed Clark figure.
See those logo threes, she's, shooting from the parking lot and it's going in. That's where people who don't necessarily pay attention to or love basketball, they're intrigued by that.
Her confidence, her ability to electrify a moment and still show gratitude to the little girl in the front row who waited 2 hours for an autograph. That's not just talent, that's brand power. And in the WNBA, a league historically marginalized by male media executives, Caitlin Clark's stardom didn't just elevate the game, it threatened the old guard. The WNBA has never had to deal with this level of fame before. Serena Williams built her icon status across decades. Simone Biles rose to prominence through Olympic excellence. But Caitlin, she's doing this in real time, in a league that wasn't prepared for that kind of visibility to come for 6 weeks. Sitting in on press conferences, practices, games, and behind-the-scenes moments.
You spent 6 weeks on the road with Caitlin and the Indiana Fever, covering games, practices, and press conferences.
What she witnessed wasn't just a rising star, it was a cultural phenomenon.
She is, of course, as you said, a phenomenon, as we say in the book.
Men who once wouldn't be caught dead watching women's sports are now planning their evenings around her games.
And I interviewed a lot of these guys who are putting on the number 22 jersey, going to the grocery store, going to the game, planning their evenings around the starting time of Caitlin Clark's game.
Clark and her team have often seen more fans in the arena for the WNBA than some NBA teams.
Grown adults are wearing number 22 jerseys in grocery stores. Kids, boys and girls, are lining up hours early just to get a glimpse of her. And here, Caitlin Clark was everywhere. Games, ads, interviews, social media. And here's what made it explosive. Those ads weren't just on during her games. They were about her. Brennan describes watching a game go to commercial break. And suddenly, Caitlin is right there again, in a State Farm ad, wearing her jersey, speaking directly to the same audience who just watched her drain a 30-footer seconds ago. She never left the screen. In a media environment where constant attention equals cultural power, Caitlin Clark became unavoidable. She wasn't just the face of Iowa, she became the face of possibility. A player who filled college arenas with 20,000 fans, smashed viewership records, and turned previously uninterested dads into ticket-buying superfans. It wasn't just her shooting range, it was her swag.
Who is racing off to soccer practice and then changing in the car.
To decades of women being told no until someone like Caitlin finally said, "Watch me."
For generations, we were saying no to girls and women. You cannot learn about sports.
And now that she's here, dominating headlines and becoming a symbol of what women's sports can be,
She and her team, the Iowa Hawkeyes, drew more television viewers for the women's NCAA championship than the men drew in their NCAA double championship game.
it's shaking the system that was never ready for her. But while fans are celebrating, not everyone is happy. The book shows just how unprepared the WNBA and some of its players were for the tidal wave that came with Caitlin Clark. And that's where the story takes a sharp turn. How did we get here? How did a 6-foot-tall guard from Iowa, who started playing against boys at 5 years old, become the most talked about figure in women's sports, while simultaneously causing a cultural and racial firestorm inside the very league she was meant to uplift? It started with something the old sports system never accounted for: the power of NIL, name, image, and likeness.
They missed 5 games. During those 5 games, the WNBA, their attendance, or excuse me, their TV ratings, they lost over half of their viewers, disappeared. So Caitlin's gone, more than half of the viewers disappear. That didn't happen with Tiger Woods. That didn't happen with Magic or Bird or Michael Jordan, to lose that much of your.
Because the bigger Caitlin gets, the more exposed the league becomes. And this is just the beginning.
Caitlin Clark is that person.
She's a beneficiary of
She's
this.
a beneficiary. She is, frankly, what we created.
Caitlin Clark didn't just walk into the WNBA, she kicked the door wide open. With a wave of fans, national attention, million-dollar NIL deals, and a game that speaks for itself, her arrival wasn't just exciting, it was disruptive. And that disruption exposed a brutal truth. The WNBA wasn't ready for Caitlin Clark.
But it has not always been a smooth ride to her deserved stardom and deserved success.
And many of its players weren't either.
What Caitlin Clark's first year in the WNBA looked like, and the lack of preparation from the league level.
For decades, Caitlin Clark delivered it. But instead of celebrating her, parts of the league turned on her. Not because she did something wrong, but because she did something they didn't see coming. And now, the WNBA is being forced to face the truth. The Caitlin Clark effect is real, and it's not going anywhere.
She never said no comment. She never said, I don't want to talk about this. And a lot of the questions were also about basketball and what's she thinking and does she know when the ball leaves her hands that it's going in?
Caitlin Clark is no longer just a basketball player. She's something bigger, something the WNBA and much of the media world never anticipated. She's a cultural icon, and her name now sits in the same breath as LeBron, Serena, and yes, even Taylor Swift. But the real question is, Brennan's book doesn't tiptoe around this. It dives straight into the uncomfortable truth. The WNBA is a league that's long been dominated by Black players, many of whom have spent years being overlooked, underpaid, and ignored by mainstream sports media. Suddenly, a white player from Iowa shows up and gets everything: the headlines, the commercials, the sold-out arenas, and the resentment. It's real. In Brennan's own words, if I were a Black player, this would bug the hell out of me. That's not speculation. It's a direct acknowledgement of the tension surging beneath the surface.
Other needle movers in sports, Michael Jordan is Black, Simone.
And yet Caitlin continues to handle it all with the kind of maturity most veterans struggle to maintain.
The maturity, the poise, handling every issue, lots of stuff thrown at her, lots of controversy, as you know, and everything about her, a maturity, an elegance, intelligence, and just also a sense of humor that you would hope to see in someone. And America, there she is.
That she's so famous, but is able to keep a level head amid all the crazy storm.
Brennan describes her as 22 going on 40.
She was 22, now she's 23. But all of this at age 22. I say she's 22 going on 40 or 50.
Someone who shakes hands firmly, looks people in the eye.
Her handshake is firm. She
being white.
For the longest time, this was seen and still is as a majority Black league. And it is 74% Black. And so I think all of us understand that the issues that can come up in that situation. And hey, I'm sitting here talking to you as a white woman, you're a white man, and we will never live 1 minute.
The WNBA is 74% Black, and the feeling among some players is that Caitlin didn't earn the spotlight. She just inherited it.
Jealousy and resentment as a white player became the top story in a predominantly Black league.
But what that ignores is this. Caitlin Clark did earn it, every bit of it. From the gym floors of West Des Moines to outscoring legends and carrying Michael Phelps. Hit back. Are we saying women don't get the same questions men do?
I didn't like the way Brennan phrased her question at the time. It was almost too accusatory, but the question itself, I mean, those are the kind of questions, those are big boy and girl pants questions.
That moment wasn't just about media. It exposed a deeper fear within the WNBA, a fear that Caitlin Clark's presence is not just changing the league, it's revealing its flaws.
WNBA official, she says this. She says, I have a simple test about whether questions are appropriate or not. They should not be vulgar, they should not be rude, or they should not be inappropriate. Your questions were not vulgar, rude, or inappropriate. Your questions were fine.
That's not just tension. That's a league in panic mode, reacting instead of leading. Let's be honest, jealousy is fueling a lot of this. Brennan describes it in the book and in interviews. Some WNBA players feel like they fought for years in silence, only to watch Caitlin Clark become the face of a movement they helped build. That frustration boiled over when Angel Reese publicly called out the media, claiming she was too ghetto for their narrative. She didn't say Caitlin's name, but the target was clear. And yet, through it all, Caitlin hasn't cracked. She's not lashing out. She's not playing the victim. She's doing what real stars do, rising above it. She thanks fans, signs autographs for both boys and girls.
Always thanking others, talking about her role, doing autographs before, after, making sure if she misses a kid, coming back.